Hi. I'm Ron Wasserman. I have nothing prepared, so what's up?
Line up the questions here, folks.
Okay, yeah, we'll start. I think that's the best thing to do.
Question here.
Basically,
Go for it.
Brief resume.
Yeah, good idea. Well, we know each other forever. So I started at Saban in 1989. I went in for one weekend to help engineer and mix a few things. And then I got called in another weekend to work with some of the composers that were doing all the music. So I never really thought about television. And so I worked one day with the composers and I went, this is a great thing to do. Because I'd already been in bands and been signed and been through all that. So it took about 3 years of just writing and submitting music and engineering and serving coffee and being nice. And finally, I started getting some of their home video projects, which I can't really remember the names of. And then they originally came in with some of the footage from Power Rangers, and they were going to call it Metal Man, which I thought was pretty cool, and then it went away. And then it came back, and they said, we have this show that's called Mighty Morphin, which I thought they said Mighty Morphine. They said, write a theme for it, and maybe put in the word go or something. So I watched the footage, and I remember I was kind of upset, because I was working on a song with a band with my wife. So I just wanted to get the theme done. And so it just kind of came to me and I just did it in 2.5 hours. And through my guide vocal on meeting, I thought a real singer would come in. I'd never sung on anything. And then the next day they said, Fox loves it. And I went, great. And that's the last I thought about it. And then it started airing and I went, great. And then the ratings started coming in. And I went, wow. And I still think it's had higher ratings than anything ever. Because I think at one point, I can't quite remember now, but I think it hit a 50 share, which means 50% of the TVs in America were watching it, at least on one day, which is great. Because a show like Friends will get a 6. And so I got on the treadmill, so I was doing Power Rangers, the score for that. I think I had to write a song every week. And then I was doing Sweet Valley High, which was a theme for part of the score. VR Troopers, I don't think I did a theme, not VR. I think I did some of the score, and then I was doing stuff for X-Men and a few others, and after so a little trivia for you. Ron Kanan, who was head of music, came in with X-Men and said, I have kind of a basic bass group for it. That was from a song called Piranha Canoe that he had written for the band that he was heading. And so he came in with that. And then we just added stuff and added more, and that was it. I love that band. So, and then I stayed till the end of 1995. I've been working there. I was there 7 days a week. 10 or 12 hours a day, and I just blew a fuse. I remember I was on vacation with my wife, and sorry, we weren't married yet. We were flying back from the East Coast, and I remember just staring at the plane wing, and all of a sudden we landed in Los Angeles. And I went, I think I need a break. So I left. And then they called me back in to do vocals and other things, and then Disney called me in 2005 to do SPD, and then that was a great deal with Disney. And that's the last time I think I've dealt with Disney. Yeah. Okay.
Hi there. Throughout your career, have you ever been a creative consultant for such bands as Megadeth, Iron Maiden, etc.?
No. No, it's never happened. They've never asked or anything. Those bands. There was a moment where I was going to go. It was somewhere I can't remember. Irvine. There's was a giant stadium or outdoor thing, and I was going to open for Metallica at one point, which I was totally into. Yeah, it would have been great. So I was thinking, okay, I guess a couple Valium, I'll be able to actually do this. And then Saban turned it down for me.
Wow.
It's just one of those things. Lots of politics go on.
Did Metallica request you to open?
I have no idea. They just said, oh, Metallica wanted you to open for them in Irvine Gardens or something. They said, but we told them no.
Yes, after you got the call back to do SPD, and you did it, I heard you had to do two different versions of the same song, and then later on I heard you were trying to do another one for next year for later on for Mystic Force, and they turned that down.
Yeah, I turned in the rock version for Mystic Force, and they said, great, we love it. And then they had a music call and said, one of the producers was driving around this weekend and he was listening to rap and he thinks it should be rap now. And I said, you forgot the C. So I did one because I'm an idiot. And that was that. And everything was great. They said, okay, next year maybe we'll straighten this out. And then I let the demos out because I own them. And I wrote them and I'm allowed to do that. And that just put Disney, they were very angry with me.
No, really?
Yeah. I don't know why, but that's what happened.
Thank you.
Sure.
First wanted to say you can probably noticeably tell what music you did for Power Rangers because it's the only good seasons. You know, like Mystic Force, I mean, if you did that, I think that Mystic Force would have been way better than it was. It's crap to me, but at any rate, I want to know what basically was your, I mean, as a child growing up, teenager, adult, whatever, was your biggest musical influence? Because I can still listen to, I have it on an iPod now, like that fight song you made for the first, oh my, I was sitting out there about to punch somebody and it was so awesome. Right.
Yeah, I got in a lot of trouble for that one.
So like, what is your musical influence?
You know, I'll tell you the truth. When I grew up, my mom listened to nothing. My dad listened to news radio. I started to listen to some top 40 and went, oh, it's always top 40s always.
Yeah.
So I started digging around and listening to anything. And it would be everything from Pink Floyd to George Gershwin. It was just whatever I was into that week. I mean, the last few weeks I've been into Frank Sinatra. Just listening in the car. A lot of Frank Sinatra, and that'll go away, and I'll be bored with it. So that's the thing. I started playing when I was 3 and writing when I was 5. So I've always done it. It's just been up there. It's all I can do. I can't even build a box.
What was your favorite Power Rangers music that you ever written?
I love Fight, which I think is the first song. And so I should elaborate on that. So that was going on, and then there were acts of violence around the world, which they were blaming on the music, and particularly that song. So Tipper Gore, married to Al Gore, came in at one point. Came in and because Chaim Saban very heavily involved in the political world, and said you should not use words like fight or hit. Try and avoid minor chords. Make things cheerier because, well, I didn't say it, but the people between, because they said, the White House is coming down, so stop. So, I mean, didn't that happen in the 16th century with the church when they told composers no evil notes?
Yeah.
So, you know, but it was great. At first, I had all the freedom in the world.
Hi, I'm a huge fan. I like 541 and I Will Win. Those are my favorites.
541 and what?
541 and I Will Win.
Yeah.
But my question is, how come you have so many different aliases?
Okay. When you spend your pretty much an entire existence alone in the studio. Because from thinking up the basic idea to the finished mix, I did the whole thing. So as a joke, I invented Aaron Waters, the singer. Because, you know, I'm not a pro singer. I never considered myself that. To do that, I have to stack vocals. I had to gargle ice cold Pepsi to tighten up my chords. It's a whole painful process. So I invented Aaron Waters because my last name is Wasserman, which is in German Waterman, and Aaron's my middle name. So I invented this guy, and we had it out in the studio. And I looked like a psycho.
I know what that's like.
And so I had that, and I went, this is great, because my name won't be on everything, it'll look like there's an actual singer, this is great. Then one day they came in and they said, we're also going to call you the Mighty Rock.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
I like that.
When the executives say they're going to do something, you go, hey, yeah,
All right, wow. All right.
that's great. I never would have thought of it.
Hey Ron, I just want to say thank you so much because you really did inspire. I've emailed you once before. You really inspired my taste in music and my love for music and playing guitar and stuff. And you know, Go Go Power Rangers is probably my favorite song ever, never mind theme. I was wondering about Fight. Fight's another one of my favorite songs. That in one episode, there was like a solo version over the top. And wondering, did you compose that? It was in Return of an Old Friend Part 2, if that
I
makes
have
any.
no idea.
Part 1.
I really don't know. I don't know. Perhaps somebody there thought it needed more action. Because I would come in, I would get in there about 6 in the evening and stay till whatever, 6 in the morning, which I preferred because everybody cleared out. Perhaps one afternoon someone went in and put a screaming guitar solo. It was good.
It is fantastic.
But I did it. Yeah, remember now. I don't know, I'm sorry.
Well, that's good. Thank you.
Didn't Kanan actually do a lot of guitar work?
Yeah, Ron Kanan did some of the solos. Yeah. He was great player.
Okay, so I'm just wondering who's the favorite person, or I should say people, you liked working with when you were producing the music?
My wife.
Well, it's gotta be
I
up there.
know, Joe.
That's gotta be up there.
And I worked with John Anderson from the band Yes for 2 years, doing all solo
Right.
records. That was the weirdest 2 years I've ever spent. Because he's like, hi Ron, there's lots of weird things going on, there's fairies, and there's all sorts of stuff in the world. And you're going, okay John, weird stuff happening. I'd like to have a Bose piano. They're worth $150,000. So he makes a few calls and when he shows up, he goes, I'd like a dove to sit on it. I come in with there is bird crap all over this $150,000 piano. That's a loan ticket. That's the dove. And then we moved to San Luis Obispo, and I remember we were sitting out on this balcony talking once. He goes, oh, he likes you. And there's a hawk hovering about it. So is there a God, John? So that was fun, and then I worked with a little bit, I did a couple Monty Python games. So I got to work with Eric Idle and John Cleese a little bit. The producer on that was Bob Ezrin, who had done The Wall.
Oh, wow.
And he was fun. Really very smart, cool guy.
Thanks.
So you've mentioned before the fact that the producers at some point decided that you shouldn't use minor chords when you write your music anymore.
Yes.
I know that, in terms of how chord progressions work, that's nearly impossible.
Yes.
So how did you get past that, and did they ever lift it? Because I remember from the opening of the Zio theme song, there are clearly minor chords in the a cappella section.
Yeah, well, you just put in happier words, and sometimes, these are very busy guys. So sometimes it's best a lot of themes I've written have had great ideas for changes, and, sometimes I got to them, and sometimes I didn't.
Yeah.
But there were definitely, I had to lighten things up a bit. So I think that's it. I certainly could use the word fight, and
Right.
it's just really hard to do when all they do is fight.
Well, thank you.
They laugh a lot.
Yeah, argue.
And they laugh a lot. But my question is, if you've heard any of the, like some of the rap songs and whatnot that have sampled stuff from like Go-Go Power Rangers and
I think
whatnot.
I've only ever heard one.
Okay, I was just wondering what you thought of that.
Oh, I think it's great. If anybody wants to take something and turn it, if it's great, that's wonderful. Yeah, that's really I spend so much time writing that I don't spend a lot of time listening, which seems peculiar, but it's kind of worked to my advantage over the years because I never get. I mean, had I been watching and researching children's television when Power Rangers came out, I may have never even thought of going in that rock direction. But instead I went, well, they're fighting. Rock.
Listen, I know that because I know I've talked to somebody before who like they do not listen to any music at all to create their own music. They like completely block stuff out. If they're in a store that is playing music, they walk out. They do not let themselves hear anything so that it doesn't taint what they're creating themselves.
Yeah,
So yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I can understand that. I'm not that extreme by far.
Yeah, exactly.
I just avoid listening to the same thing or I'll sound just like it right away. Because I have to be a chameleon in so many different styles that if I am in the middle of a rock project and I'm listening to that, I'll just become one.
Thank you.
Hi. So what came first when you were writing Go-Go Power Rangers, the short version or the long version?
Short version.
How'd the long version come about?
We need a long version now. So I think, I remember I doubled the verse and I came out of it. And I think my wife gave me the idea for the first line. She's a great lyricist. And weapons for defense. Very positive. That's great. And then built onto that, and we put a long solo on. It was because when something's 30 seconds, and I've run into this with animation. Sometimes the themes are 10 seconds, and they say we'd like a 3-minute version. Wow. It's 10 seconds. We'll add something. Okay. So you get used to it. But I bet, yeah, it was the 1-minute version.
To kind of piggyback off our friend, like for instance, I sat in my apartment a few weeks ago to get ready for this. I have big speakers in my apartment. And I played the go-go part, the very first theme, it's the wah, 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 all that. And like, I almost knocked the wall down. It was awesome. Like, how long did it take you to create that one song? Whether the short one or the long one, how long did it take? Because that song is like maybe the best song for Power Rangers I've ever heard in my life. And I've heard that.
Literally from, have something for us this evening, it was 2.5 hours. because and I'll tell you, I was working on a song with my wife called Breakable, and I finished that song that night. That one went on to be used in the Great Expectations, the movie. So that was a great night for me. I've never had that productive a night ever. I should have gone to Vegas that night. I'd be flying next to Heinz plane. Yeah.
Hi, I just wanted to first of all thank you for your music because I've been listening to it on a consistent basis since I was 9, which was like 94. But I wanted to ask you, one of my favorite songs is Hope for the World, and I wonder what the story was behind that.
Yeah, Hope for the World is, that was written, I think before I didn't get the movie score on that. That was written for the film, so they wanted a really big song and something. That's kind of an example of when things needed to lighten up and be more positive.
Yeah.
So, but each of those songs has kind of a story behind it. And I think I can't remember the story behind Hope for the World. Fight was obvious, that was just for the show. But I Know a Place is actually about a bar that we all went to. And We Need a Hero was because it felt like everything was kind of falling apart in the movie. So. And I could go through the whole list.
I also wanted to know, was Cross My Line, was that also a response to the positive thing?
Cross My Line. Oh, sorry, you're right. Cross My Line was for the movie.
Okay.
Cross My Line, I met with 20th Century Fox. They said, you're scoring the film. And I went home and I did some work. 20th Century loved it. And Saban said, you're not doing it. And so that was the second to the last song I think I did. And that was very simply, you crossed the line, that's it. That's when I was deciding to go. And then Tenga, Bye Bye. Every time I had a meeting with Hein, because he's a very busy guy, and he is brilliant. He really is. But you finish the meeting like, are we done? Big Goo, bye bye. Big Goo, bye bye. So that's what that song is.
Thanks.
Thanks for that.
They all have little secrets.
Hello. I was just wondering, have you guys thought about putting in, because the music, like the gentleman said, the music, I remember when I was like younger, that I listened to the music and I had people, make fun of me. I was like, guys, this is awesome. Shut up. Are you guys planning? Are you guys?
No, man. Britney Spears is hot.
I was like, are you planning to make a box set of like all the songs of the Power Rangers?
No, because the restrictions are in place where unless Saban and Warner Brothers agrees, I don't think I can ever recut and release those. And although a lot of people want them.
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't know. Oh no, whenever you do any project, whether you're me or up to John Williams, it's owned by the production.
I was just going back to what you said about Disney.
Disney owns SPD, but I think Saban has that back.
Yeah.
It's hard to get at it. Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what they do, huh?
Have you gotten it wrong?
I was told they have somebody else. At first they said we'd love to talk to you, and then I sent the next email to Jonathan. He said we have somebody, but I said,
Don't give up. Keep trying next season, man. Don't give up. That's right.
that'd be good. Hip hop, orchestral, female song. Something light, positive.
Rap.
Ron, man, you're a musical genius. So I just want to put that out there. You just a musical genius. And you kind of already explained a little bit with the Tingle Bye Bye process. That's my all-time favorite.
That's a fun song.
I love that song. I got it on my cell phone, ringtone, everything. And so just you explained a little bit, but what was the whole process? Did they come to you and say, hey, we got a new set of
Yeah,
videos?
that I'm pretty sure they showed me a picture, or they had some, most of the footage already existed, so they probably showed me some of the footage of the birds. And I just thought of what Hein said, and this one came to mind. It was perfect. Just right around. They were, songs were coming fast and furious to me then. Now it's a bit more work. Because I think now I get a bit more stuck on some of the production and the sound before the song.
If the band called you and asked you, hey, new series, can you do it? Would you do it?
If there was a new series?
I mean, like when the new series come out, if they called you to do it, would you do it?
Oh, yeah, I had contacted them. I wanted to, as long as they were going to go back in the rock direction. Because that's what the show should be.
Yeah!
Nobody's done it since. Really. No. I mean, it's always kind of kid rock. It's like, we want this to rock. And not too much. But, yeah. I think, look, the real reason I think the music on Power Rangers did so well is because I didn't write it for kids. I have a lot of respect.
Yeah.
You know, write like they're adults about silly characters. Really, I mean, it's far for adults.
Any chance for any more Rock Band network songs?
Yeah, absolutely. I did the two, and we had that really cool one, the Revengers theme. But it was originally Avengers. I wrote it as a theme for Marvel, which they rejected because they want to go in orchestral hip-hop direction. It's okay. So I changed it to to regret. I went in and recut it. Regret. But Rock Band said it rhymes with a Marvel property, and we're worried we'll get sued. So they can't release it. They won't release it. It's MTV. But you can watch someone get shot in the head on it.
Okay, so Marvel rejected the Avengers song itself for Rock Band. Yeah, I was actually talking with Ozone, who,
Yeah, right.
The question is, Marvel also owns the X-Men theme that you did. Is there, any chance you could talk with them possibly,
No, because Disney.
Oh, that's right.
And the president of Marvel that I
Yeah.
got asked to go home.
Wow.
Yeah, it's too bad.
We just can't win, can we?
It's Disney. It's Disney and Viacom. That's it. That's all there is. Luckily, Viacom and I get along fine. We're bigger than Disney.
And one follow-up, would you ever, are you stuck with Ozone to,
No.
okay, so you wouldn't mind other people charging your songs for Rock Band?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No. I'm open to all things and completely independent, free agent,
Okay.
which is worked out great. And keeps things fun.
Yeah.
Of course, the Tank Warrior song was awesome. Did you ever think about making a Putty Patrol one? I mean, they were around for 2 seasons, so I mean.
There was a silly putty thing, but it was really lame. It was only for the live show. It was silly putties making silly monsters. It was
I know they were idiots, but still. It's like, them and everyone else, yeah. We want to see a Lackey song.
Yeah. No, I just think, for whatever reason that came out, they must have said we want something quirky and not rock, and so they got it.
What inspired you to do the countdown theme for the space?
5, 4, 3.
The Power Rangers space theme.
Right, yeah. I'm trying to remember what inspired
10, 9, 8.
Yeah.
No, obviously, countdown, they're going into space, make it easy for kids, Discovery Channel. It's that simple. Sorry, I wish it was more exciting. I should have skipped.
Again, just as a kid who had no interest in music, the album of all the songs was just really the first CD I ever listened to as a kid, and that was really big for me.
Had no dialogue.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just going to be the songs, but it was about that time they started getting live heat from all sorts of sources, and so they said put some dialogue on it, edit it, and song.
Huh. Well,
Kind of fun.
Yeah, well, regardless, it was, I mean, that was my first big album that I ever really listened to. I was just curious if there was ever a song that actually did make it into the show that maybe didn't turn out quite like how you pictured it, or maybe was there one that you were just like maybe they played a lot that you were kind of like, eh?
Yeah, the White Ranger Tiger. Something about screaming white and power and so big problem with that one. Like, that's what it's called. I'm like, yeah, that one always bugged me. I don't think I've listened to it since. I get requests for it, I'm like, it starts like that's it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Sorry about that one.
So you mentioned that you couldn't release your stuff from the Power Rangers because they own it, and you said that you couldn't put on Rock Band because it rhymed with the property. But are you still able?
That was the Marvel thing. No, that I own. There never would have been a lawsuit in the world.
Oh, but so you can still release that yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I kind of did. I mean, it's
I guess. But
it's happening.
like, are you able to do your own stuff related to properties like that? Like if since they didn't get you to do the next season, would you be able to do your own and it still be yours? Like was the Mystic Force demo yours?
I've had this before with songs, and I asked a lawyer friend of mine once, and he said, they might let it go, they might come after you, the main thing is once they come after you, if they're, like Haim or Disney, he goes, you might win, probably cost you at least $500,000-600,000 to defend yourself. So no.
So
Yeah, that's it. It's such a weird gray area with everything. I mean, I had a big thing with Toyota, a whole branding campaign, and I had an agreement that I could do what I want with the long version, so I did, and then they came back and threatened me, so I backed down, and now they license it, and they don't pay me, so I'm going to them. It's just really weird. What can you do?
Have you ever been contacted by the Japanese producers of the original Sentai shows to do their music?
No, there's been a lot of people who wanted to hook me up with them or other production companies, and it doesn't come through. I've always felt like I had been on some list. Hey, let's go. Always on the list. No. I mean, even for Bandai and the commercials, I would go after and go, I do commercials, and do commercials for these toy line. It sounds like somebody I know, and I can do them. And it's intense. It is the strangest business on earth.
I've always thought of the Power Rangers Zeo theme as kind of a sequel song to Go Go Power Rangers. I was just wondering what you thought of it, because from what I understand, Jeremy Sweet did that, and not you.
Yeah, well, Jeremy copied it. I have a feeling by that time they were probably down to the wire for a theme, and he just blew that thing out. And that's all I remember about that.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
That's fine.